Hello and welcome to Fault Lines. I'm your host SHAHZAD RAZA. President Donald Trump has endorsed Pakistan's position that during a fight it shot at least five Indian state-of-the-art jets. And it happened after India resorted to aggression after Pahalgam false flag operation. And this is not the first time that President Donald Trump made statement about this brief conflict between India and Pakistan. However, before this endorsement by President Donald Trump, two high-ranking Indian military officials already between the lines admitted to the fact that they lost several aircraft while fighting this brief war with Pakistan. And thanks to our brave soldiers and vigilant Air Force that it happened. Meanwhile, India intensified its proxy war on Pakistan using non-state actors whom now we call Fitnatul Hind, particularly in Balochistan. And there are several instances and horrific events that occurred in Balochistan in which Indian proxies, they attacked Pakistan's military forces, security forces, and also they attacked the soft targets. How this going to unfold in the days and months to come, because Pakistan won that war, Pakistan won on the diplomatic front as well, and India's all efforts and strategy and conspiracies to isolate Pakistan among the international community also failed flatly. To discuss this, we have with us Air Commodore ADIL Sultan. Thank you very much, Air Commodore Sir, for your time. We have with us Hassan Khan. He's a senior journalist. Thank you very much. Professor SHAZIA ANWER CHEEMA, she's also joining us on the video link. Thank you very much, Professor Saiba. And Admiral FAISAL Shah would also be with us in a moment. Professor SHAZIA, let me begin by asking you that Indian opposition is asking Narendra Modi to answer all those claims by President Donald Trump, and it's an international embarrassment according to the Indian opposition. So how Narendra Modi will get away from this? Because we saw in the past that they used anti-Pakistan slogan to get some cheap popularity back home just before the elections, whether state or general election. But this time, it's really, really embarrassing for Indian Prime Minister. How would he get away from this?
I think it will be difficult for him to get away this time because he is not only using this time anti-Pakistan cheap propaganda, he's also using anti-Bangladeshi, anti-Myanmar, anti-Iran. So he is the new Israel of this region who is in threat from all sides and needs to safeguard its territory and its civilization, its religion. So this is nothing new for the world to see, because world is already experiencing the Israel and have no appetite and no will to experience that again. So that's why this is going to be the political demise for Modi, and I don't think Modi is going to survive this, because after this unthoughtful, miscalculated attack on Pakistan's sovereignty, what he did, he just started a roadshow and start distributing sindoor home by home, and it backlashes inside, even in his own domestic politics. So after selling sindoor, he was in BRICS, and he's talking about redefining BRICS and realigning BRICS and aligning it with G20, and that's an other backlash from the regional countries, because the region is trying to survive between the two world orders, the old one and the new one, and they are fundamentally different. Because the point I'm trying to make is, this is not the only thing Modi is right now facing. Its opposition by Rahul Gandhi, Modi is facing now an existential crisis, because they have put themselves into so much mess that it's very difficult for them to even survive inside the country for their domestic politics and also their regional politics,
But that
because
was
they
not the
are the
first
odd
time
one
they
out
tried
in
to.
every.
Professor Saiba, that's not the first time Modi Sarkar tried to use any such event to jack up its popularity back home, and by maligning Pakistan, they feel and they felt and they successfully done that in the past to win the elections. Take Pulwama incident, for example. But you think that after this embarrassment, this dirty politics by Modi Sarkar would come to an end, or no?
hyphenating India being an odd one out in BRICS in SEO, even an odd one out in Quad. So that's why Trump is also criticizing India. After the American government is always on the side of India. They always pamper India. They were nurturing India. They were nourishing them as a watchdog, as a regional watchdog. And now the Trump government is criticizing India, not because that Trump all of the sudden starts loving us,
Hmm.
because he's a very transactional person. And because he's a transactional person, so his problem is that India to him seems a liability. India is not serving its purpose, and that is going to be there when this will combine with the domestic politics. This is going to be a very problematic for Modi, and it will be difficult for Modi to survive this time because their allies, their Western allies who are harboring them, who are supporting them in the region to be the watchdog or the hegemon
But
of the
have you
region,
noticed,
are
point well
losing their
taken, Professor
faith
Saiba,
at
one
both.
last question. One last question. Have you noticed that there is a strange silence from Indian side, although they are using non-state actors to destabilize Pakistan, to create havoc, especially in Baluchistan province, and there are several such incidents in the past, in the recent past. But publicly, internationally, there is a strange silence. Are they on the back foot, or what their strategy is this time?
I consider this strange silence our victory because the silence means that nobody is buying their narrative and nobody is criticizing
Right.
us as they were supporting India for so many years. So they are not openly criticizing India for the moment. And I think there will be a time when they have to, when they will see that their Indian National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, even in the lectures, in the seminars, he is reiterating a single point that he does not believe in kinetic war or hot war. His favorite type of fighting his adversary is the asymmetric war.
Hmm.
So, if a national security advisor of a country is promoting asymmetrical war, so by definition, the translation will be that asymmetrical war is that he
Right.
wants to have this cross-border terrorism, and that's what Ajit Doval is doing. So people are now having their focus on Ajit Doval and his doctrine as well. So there are so many things which are combining and also and serving in our favor. So this is a high time that diplomatically we must highlight them and we must talk about them and we must put our
Fine.
points again and again without feeling that we are repeating ourselves. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. We must repeat ourselves and we must say that for past at least 50 years we are giving dossiers, we are going in every international platform, we are telling the entire world that we are the victim of Indian cross-border terrorism, and now their national defense advisor is himself saying that this is our doctrine and that's how we are fighting our adversaries.
Very, very well
And
said, Professor
with that,
SHAZIA
they
Anwar
are
CHEEMA,
selling the
and
narrative.
thank you so much for your time and being with us in the show. Thank you very much, Professor SHAZIA Anwar CHEEMA. Air Commodore Adil Sultan, the question is, whenever President of the United States makes any statement, he's just not making statement off the cuff. Obviously, whatever information he is passing on to the public, because he was speaking at a public meeting, so he would not be saying anything that is not correct, of course, and his information, his statement is based on hardcore facts and intelligence report he received every day, of course. On that particular incident, he was very vigilant, and you know, he kept a close eye on whatever was going on here. So Indian government, you must have read and heard their past statements. They try to, you know, water down the statements by the US administration. So, but President of the United States making this statement, I mean, you think that now he has put a full stop on this debate, whether Indian jets were shot by our Air Force or not? I mean, because that debate was going on, thanks to, you know, fact twisting by the Indian media.
I don't think so. He's going to put a full stop to these statements. It has been more than 24 times that President Trump has reiterated the same position that Indian aircraft were shot down. Primarily, and to your question, yes, it does matter because it's the US president who has been time and again asserting his position and making these claims that he played instrumental role in stopping this potential nuclear war. And this was heading towards a serious crisis where Pakistan was able to shoot down 5 aircraft, according to him. And it's also endorsement of our narrative because we had been from the very first day consistent on this that there were aircraft shot down. Our numbers is 6, although he's a bit undermining our claims by making it 5. So actually 6 aircraft were shot down. Now coming to Indian sides, in the Indian side, the domestic politics, the one thing is for sure that India for a long time has been using Pakistan card for its domestic politics, successive leadership, especially the BJP leadership. So whatever happened in India, they had always blamed Pakistan, and even during this crisis, they wanted to replicate what they did in 2016 and 2019. I think this will put an end to that, the misuse of Pakistan card for domestic politics internally. And next time, Modi or whosoever takes over after him, because his position is quite precarious, they will be very, very reluctant, or they will definitely take into consideration that misuse of Pakistan card could backfire, and it could have serious political consequences for their domestic politics.
Right.
But on the international level, I think we should be very careful that this one episode does not undermine India's overall position. Yes, it has dented India's credibility to its claims that it is a rising power in the region, something that the West should help so that it can stand up against China. That credibility has been dented, but there has been so much investment in India-US strategic partnership for the last 2 decades. The global competition between United States and China is going to remain same, and they would need partners in this region, and India has opted to be a willing partner for the United States. So that convergence of interest will be there, and I think
right,
at the level there won't be any change, but that domestic politics, yes, it has dented India's credibility. And
that has dented, of course, and thanks to India's own mistakes. Admiral Faisal Shah is also with us. Thank you very much, Admiral Faisal Shah, for your time. Let me first ask a question to Hassan Sabri for some time. Hassan Khan, now the question is that India has intensified or speed up its dirty tricks and efforts using the proxies now we call Fitnatul Hindustan, particularly specifying targets inside Balochistan, and there are several such incidents in the recent past. But we have done a lot curbing and eliminating non-state actors from all over the country, particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. But as long as our western border is not secure, although we have done our part, but on the other side, the Taliban regime in Afghanistan, if they are not fulfilling its commitment it made to the world, so how difficult it's going to be for us to protect our people and our interest inside Pakistan? Hassan Khan Sahab.
Thank you, SHAHZAD. I think this is a very pertinent question, and it concerns a lot the Pakistan security, especially its major parts, that is Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and the former merge, which are now merged, the tribal district. I think this is a big challenge, and yes, as long as Afghanistan is unstable, and definitely previously when Afghanistan was ruled by, especially in the era of Dr. Ashraf Ghani and President Karzai, Indians have, I think, done a lot of investment in having assets, these non-state actors, and definitely the then governments were supporting them. And the same was, in Iran, India was also using the Iranian side for infiltrating and supporting.
Hassan Khan, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there is some interruption in your voice, and we'll get back to you in a moment. Admiral Faisal Shah Sahab, after this statement by President Donald Trump, I asked the same question to Air Commodore Adil Sultan, that this so-called debate, especially by Indian media, that India never lost any jets, and there may be some losses as admitted by two seniors, high-ranking military officials of India. But now, when President Donald Trump is making this plain statement, so this is really a point of embarrassment for Modi Sarkar. But on the other side, we are not here to embarrass the Modi government, but we are here to show the world the real facts that after this false flag operation, India resorted to violence, and the prime purpose or objective of them for them is to, get some popularity back home before the state elections in Bihar and other states. But you think that this episode or this tactic India been using for the last many years is now over, that India now have realized that it's not going to work anymore in future, or are we wrong in thinking that?
I think President Trump has said nothing new. We have been saying it right from the beginning. World knew it because we live in 21st century and everything is very transparent nowadays. People are looking at you through satellites. They are hearing you and looking at you through media and reporters on ground. And evidences have been uploaded on social media even. There have been some voices from inside India also who have accepted, and very credible voices who have accepted these losses. And that's how the opposition has taken up the case with the government, that why government is mum on these losses and why government is not actually accepting or telling their people what actually happened with them. So this aside, I think there have been many other things that President Trump has been saying, like one of the most significant things were that he played a very significant role in the mediation between India and Pakistan, and India has been denying that. So we should not expect anything coming positive out of the incumbent government of India as regards to the U.S. role in ceasefire or downing of their jets by Pakistan Air Force. So
Admiral Saab, Admiral Saab, if you allow me to ask a question, that President Donald Trump is very, very categorical in his new statement as well, that not only he confirmed the shooting of 5 Indian jets, but also he claimed that he used trade to avert a nuclear disaster between the two countries, and he would continue to press both countries to have a peaceful relationship or start dialogue on disputed issues. And he basically offered that United States of America would have enhanced trade relation with two countries. I mean, he did not single out India or Pakistan. He considered or treated both countries as equal, unlike the previous US administration. So now, are we good to believe that he is going to use all his influence not only to normalize the relationship, but also help resolving the disputed issues, including Kashmir?
Whenever as head of a state or head of government issues a statement, or he talks to the press and he gives a statement, that signifies that he has been briefed on the subject by his staff, and he's convinced on that, and that's why he's giving that statement. So if President Trump says that 5 jets were down in this conflict, he was briefed on it and and he was convinced that signifies that in America it is believed that it happened. Number 2, when he says that America is going to have trade relations with both India and Pakistan, he believes in that, and that's why he issued that statement. Now, he wants that through trade, the relations between both countries and between these countries and US should be improved to an extent that US should be able to influence them to come and talk on Kashmir through US mediation, if US can play any part in that. But that can only happen if both parties agree to it. And you know that as per Shimla Accord, we have agreed that we are going to discuss it bilaterally unless we come out of Shimla agreement. So it's a very far-fetched idea, but yes, to start with, we should engage in trade with US. And if India understands that we are their neighbors, we are to live with them till doomsday, and this is not the life that
Right.
both sides of people should expect. Every now and then, after 3 4 years, they create this drama and create this havoc for both sides. I think until India realizes that, I don't think any positive or silver lining
So
in this scenario.
you are not that hopeful that any intervention by the US president or the US administration would press India to come to the dialogue table. Pakistan time and again offered India to resolve any disputed issue through the dialogue process, but it was India that was not listening. Air Commodore Adil Sultan, are you hopeful that President Donald Trump can use his influence, his clout to press India for resolving the matter in a civilized manner, rather resorting to the cheap and dirty tactics using proxies against Pakistan, state-sponsored terrorism, or using the false flag operations like Pahalgam by attacking Pakistan and facing embarrassment in the end? Are you hopeful that President Donald Trump would be successful, what he's saying these days?
Yes, United States has the potential. President Trump can play that mediating role, but he won't. I'm a bit skeptical about the statements that are being given on Kashmir. Again, it goes back to the convergence of interest between India and United States and Pakistan and United States. I think these two relationships, the bilateral relationships of the two countries, they are distinctly different. Yes, he made that statement of Kashmir. But my sense is, and I may be wrong, that the trade talks that he's talking about with Pakistan or with India, again, these are on two different tracks. I don't think so. Trade is a major issue between Pakistan and United States, but between India and United States, it is a major issue. And his statements and his repeated assertions on even the aircraft being down, I think he's using this opportunity to pressurize India to give in some more concessions to the United States. Otherwise, he wouldn't have repeated in so many times. I think it has to do something with the bilateral talks that are ongoing. Now, coming back to Kashmir, I think we all need to be very, very realistic what role United States has been playing over the past many decades. We had very good relations at one time with the United States. We were a frontline state. We were fighting US wars. But even at that time, Pakistan was encouraging the United States to play that role, but they didn't play that role. It is probably not in their interest to come in support of Pakistan or come in support of the Kashmiris.
No, but there is one positive thing that happened, or the vibes that we are receiving here in Islamabad, that in the past, the previous US administration, you must have remembered the AFPAC strategy prepared, and there was so much concern by Islamabad that it was not fair for Pakistan, since Pakistan was a frontline state against the war on terror, sacrificing so many lives, and the damage to the infrastructure is beyond any imagination. The question is now that this administration, this US administration is treating Pakistan as a respectable, equal, sovereign country, just like India. So not that they were using the same prism looking at Pakistan with Afghanistan. So this is something very positive to note, don't you think?
I think we have to look beyond these optics, which to me, they seem very short-lived, as long as the United States might have some interest, convergence of interest with Pakistan. As I had stated earlier, this wouldn't undo the 2 decades of investment on India and the larger competition that is between the United States and China, for which the United States does need India in this region to play that role. So I don't think so. These statements which are coming now, as many people say, that Trump is not, in a way, he cannot be trusted. He's a transactional. My co-panelist also said.
No, but United States of America and China, of course, they are having some sort of tariff war or a trade war. But India, despite its own size and the market and the economy, can really not compete China, or can help United States of America to humiliate China in terms of this trade or tariff war. But on the other hand, the situation that might, God forbid, brew in Afghanistan, or situation if it gets worse in Iran. So that there comes the role of Pakistan. Don't you think Pakistan should be considered a more important ally than India? India is just there to deal with China, which, and of course, that could be counterproductive, as many analysts put it in the past.
No, again, that's in a negative light. We are seeing our relationship that we are willing to once again play a leading role or frontline role in Afghanistan, or God forbid against Iran. So that has been my major contention, that if Trump is making some statements or making some positive gestures towards Pakistan, it is not probably because of the trade. They might need Pakistan, or they might expect something in the future for which Pakistan support might be needed, but we have to be very cautious.
All right.
Do we again want to play that role that we had been playing in the past? Because it will have negative consequences for our own security.
All right. Thank you very much, Air Commodore Adil Sultan, for your valuable time. Hassan Khan, can you hear me? Are you with us?
Yes, yes.
All right, and sorry for the disturbance in the previous question. Now, what I was asking is, how easy and difficult is to deal with those proxies? Now we call them the Fitnatul Hindustan, when we are not getting the desired support from Taliban regime despite their commitments. How difficult it would be to deal with them?
Shahzad, look, yes, definitely it will be very much difficult for Pakistan to deal it from one side. If the ANWER is not good, it means that if Taliban are, for that matter, as I was earlier saying, that India is not only using the Afghan side, it has also used the Iranian side against Pakistan by infiltrating their spies, by infiltrating by keeping the people like the BLA, the Majid Brigade and others. Even in Iran, their sanctuaries were also there. But look, I think the situation has been now, there is a lot of change now. A lot of water has gone under the bridge. Look at Pakistan's policy. I think Pakistan's policy has certain practical changes. Now, instead of just using megaphone for negotiating with the Kabul, I think look at this government policy. Now we are engaging them. And look at during the last, I think, the 1 week today, our interior minister is in Kabul. A few days earlier, our deputy prime minister and foreign minister SHAHZAD was there. The railway minister was there. We have signed a very important project, this transnational railway, Trans-Afghanistan railway project with the three nations of Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. I think Pakistan's new policy is engaging now the Kabul, the leadership. We are not just banking on the peripheries like as previously we were trying. I think this time Pakistan is engaging their central core, and that is the main leadership. Definitely, there is a level, there is a gap, what we call it. There is still some problem between the leadership in Kabul and the one who are directly handling the checkpost at the border. So definitely there are problems. But I think gradually the way we are engaging them continuously, and we are sharing with them the evidences that from where and which areas these terrorists are infiltrating into the Pakistani territories.
It has to be a two-way street. Pakistan is engaging them. Pakistan is providing them with all type of support. Pakistan has opened the border with Afghanistan despite all the concerns and everything. Pakistan did not deport all the Afghan refugees as many other countries did in the recent past. But Pakistan is gradually taking time and moving with the process. But on the other hand, when we are, when we have given them irrefutable evidence of the presence of, the TTP remnants in Afghanistan, their hardcore leadership, all these fitna al-Khawarij. So don't you think that this is the time for Taliban regime to hand over all those hardcore criminals and terrorists who have done, several heinous crimes inside Pakistan against the innocent people of Pakistan? So don't you think that this should be the first goodwill gesture from Kabul?
I think, Shahzad, we are on that way. Look what happened at Beijing. I think for the first time when there was a trilateral meeting in Beijing, the Afghan foreign minister, for the first time, I think he admitted that it is the Afghan government responsibility to deal with the terrorists. which are using the Afghan soil against any neighbors, including Pakistan. So I think gradually the way we are just what we call it, instead of just rushing to the conclusion, and definitely I think that will be definitely difficult. You look at the statement of our permanent representative in the UN Security Council, in the UN, Asim Iftikhar. What he has said, he is repeatedly saying there is a change in Pakistan's policy. Instead of directly accusing the Kabul administrations of the Taliban leadership, Samarat Islamic leadership, for harboring or for keeping these terrorists, are allowing their training centers and inside Afghanistan, he said that there are still ungoverned spaces where the administration is weak, the Amarat administration is weak. So we have to focus on this area. And I think this is a very realistic statement. It doesn't mean that the Kabul Amarat-e-Islami, they are holding the entire Afghanistan as the Pakistan security forces our security apparatus is holding. I think that realistically, Asim Iftikhar was very realistic when he said that there are spaces which are being used by these terrorists. And I think he sought the word...
there has to be a resolve that whenever they get the chance, they would honor their commitment and show this goodwill gesture to Pakistan. I'll get back to you on this, on more question on this, Hassan Khan. But Admiral Faisal Shahzad, now President Donald Trump, he is known to be a doer, and he gets the work done, and time and again he of course takes credit of several things he had done all over the world. Now the question is, when he says that I'll be using my position to normalize the relationship between the two countries and resolve the disputed issues. So do we consider it's just a statement, because that statement is not coming from any ordinary person, but the President of the United States, the most powerful and influential country in the world?
As of now, it's merely a statement, because case in point is Russia-Ukraine war. How confident he was about that. If you could recall, before elections or during the election campaigns, or as soon as he took over as president, he was so sure that he would get it done within few hours or within few days. And now he says that he is disappointed, he is hopeless, and that's why he is now supporting Ukraine, because President Putin has come up as a tough negotiator. So I would take it merely as a statement. I would take it as a good intent on his part, but I'm skeptical that he would be able to do it sooner than later. And let's hope for the best. I think his strategy to engage both the countries via trade is a good one, because through trade you build stakes in each other. And stakes actually created are for good relationships. So I believe that that is a better strategy. But talking of resolution of conflicts between India and Pakistan in near future, I think that's an uphill task that he has vowed to take over.
But as Professor SHAZIA CHEEMA was stating that we should remind the world again and again, repeating ourselves, and in this particular time when we feel that we are in a position of strength, although it's a minor victory, but for us it's a big victory against India. The thing is, all India's strategies designed to isolate Pakistan diplomatically, they fell short of achieving any success. For instance, that when President Donald Trump hosted Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir to the White House, that was considered a very big achievement, even among the Indian circles, and Indian media kept on doing shows on that. And now, don't you think that we should keep telling the United Nations Security Council to fulfill its obligation of resolving the disputed issues? And when President Donald Trump is also eager and hopeful of resolving this dispute, so he can put its weight in our favor, don't you think? In our favor means in favor of the innocent people of Jammu and Kashmir.
I think many things have gone in favor of Pakistan and many things have gone against India. And you are right that we are in a good position. The best thing that has happened is that after 2019, we have been trying to overcome the damage that India had caused to Kashmir cause by abrogating the Articles 370 and 35 Alpha, and now the world knows the Kashmir issue since 1947. So India has itself done the job of Pakistan through this May 2025 conflict between both countries. So this is an opportune time. There is no denying the fact. As few other things that we thought were bad, but ultimately proved good for Pakistan were that you know that we were in a grey list of FATF, and with the concerted efforts we reached the white list, and the world knew that we did not have anything to do with terrorism. So that also helped Pakistan. We are under IMF program, and IMF is completely aware of our financial health, and they know that any country with this financial health cannot undertake such misadventures. So that also helped us. And one thing that went against India and it dented India's credibility most was its involvement in overseas terrorism in Canada, US, and Australia. So all these combined, I think Pakistan enjoys a good position right now, and we must actually keep harping on our stance of peaceful resolution of Kashmir.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Admiral Faisal Shah, for your valuable time. Khan Saab, lastly, let me know that we have come a long way fighting war against terror. We made so many sacrifices in terms of human lives, damage to the infrastructure, and whatnot. But the question is, I mean, you are a senior journalist, and you know you visit all those conflict areas, time and again in the past. But what exactly is the situation right now? Where do we stand right now? Because we eliminated most of the non-state actors, most of the terrorists. Either they were, killed, are in prison, or fled to Afghanistan. But what exactly our position is, and where exactly is this war going to in the days or months to come?
Look, Shahzad, I think as for the situation in Pakhtunkhwa is concerned, it is, if I say, it has been deteriorated. The reason is that we have committed, I think, unfortunately, the provincial government and the federal government, the relations for the last almost, I think, too many years. The problem is that we have conducted very successful operations, whether it was in Bajawal, whether it was the entire merged districts, which are now merged, previously it was the tribal district. But unfortunately, the post of rehabilitation and the post-operation reforms, which the government has agreed to introduce, we failed in doing that.
But that was the responsibility of the provincial government. For that, they took billions and billions of rupees from the federation, from the federal government.
Look, that's what I am saying. Look, Shahzad, there was, when these areas were merged, there was one initiative, and that was called TDS, Tribal Decade Strategy. These areas will be bring at par with the rest of the districts in the country in 10 years. So that project was called TDS. And there was another project called AIP, Accelerated Infrastructure Program. So we agreed over it. But unfortunately, the provincial government has completely ignored, even not for a single time, the meeting of this TDS was called, and neither this was discussed, neither it was brought up in the cabinet, etc. So it's very unfortunate. Neither the police was strengthened. You might have heard the statement of IG Police of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa today, when he was saying that this is quite unfortunate that the police in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are not that equipped as the police in Punjab and the rest of the country is. So I think you are right.
But correct me if I'm wrong, they used to take pride in, revamping the entire police infrastructure in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. You must have remembered the statements from several PTI leaders that they were taking pride in the past. What happened exactly?
Yeah, I think if you go by the statement, so you are also witness to the statement for the last 10, 11 years unfortunately.
So that was just an eyewash. There was nothing there.
Yeah, this was just an eyewash and fooling the people, I think, playing on their emotions, etc. But I just quoted you the statement of IG Police, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the today's statement. And hardly, I think it was 2 days before, that he handed over certain vehicles and ammunition to the police in Lucky district. And these districts, we are not talking of the merged districts. I think this is, Banu, Lucky, Karak, Hangu. Historically, these districts were peaceful even in the worst of time. But the situation has gone so
So we
worse
still
now.
have to go a long way, you believe?
Yeah, definitely, especially the CTD. We agreed that the CTD, it was a specialized force to counter the terrorism and the extremists. But unfortunately, you know, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the CTD is almost non-existent. And you definitely recall the attack on a CTD headquarters in Banu that was housed in a, what you call it, in a rented building, despite the fact that already a building has been, the infrastructure was there, but minor improvement and minor additions, due to the minor additions that was lying vacant for years. So I think this is not, we are good in strategy and we are good in men, but unfortunately the leadership resolve to frontally.
Of course, the resolve of the leadership is very important. With these thoughts of yours, I must thank you, Hassan Khan Saab, for your valuable time. Thank you, Air Commodore ADIL Sultan, Faisal Shah and Professor SHAZIA and CHEEMA. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you very much, viewer, for watching the program. Good night and Khuda Hafiz.